Hello everyone, my name is Ryan Cam and welcome back to Stephen King Month. All throughout the month of September, I've been covering movies based on the work of Stephen King. I've covered all three flavors of it, as well as Misery, The Shawshank Redemption, 1408, and Secret Window. The playlist link will be in the eye in the right-hand corner if you'd like to check those out. But for right now, let's conclude Stephen King Month by taking a look at everybody's favorite home of Stranger Things, terrible Adam Sandler movies, and the most beloved comedy special of all time. Let's take a look at Netflix. Let's conclude Stephen King Month by going back in time to a much more simpler time, or so we think. 1922. This movie was directed by Zach Hilditch, and it stars Thomas Jane of The Punisher fame, and Dylan Schmid, and it is based on the short story by Stephen King. It tells the story of Wilfred James, played by Thomas Jane, a very simple man who owns a farm in Nebraska. He loves this farm and he loves his son, but unfortunately he's having some marriage problems with his wife. His wife wants to sell a significant chunk of their land, move to the city and open a dress shop. And Wilfred doesn't like this all that much. And as it turns out, their son, played by Dylan Schmid, is not a big fan of the idea either. So Wilfred and his son conspire together to kill their wife/mother. And this movie deals with the consequences of that deed. Of all the Stephen King adaptations that I was looking at to do for Stephen King Month, this one was by far the one that I had the least knowledge of. I had passing knowledge of every one of these, even Secret Window, though I had never seen it cover to cover. But 1922 was the true outlier in the pack for me. But I personally enjoyed this movie a great deal. Firstly, this movie lives, breathes, and dies on the back of Thomas Jane. He is the emotional heart of this movie, and he carries it on his back. My only exposure to Thomas Jane is The Punisher, which I have never seen but everyone says is bad, and The Predator, which is one of the worst movies of 2018. So it's nice to see him in a good movie for a change. The movie does a great job at showing that Wilfred is not necessarily an evil man. He just knows what he wants and likes what he likes. And in his mind, his wife is trying to take away something that he earned and he built. And that just doesn't compute up here. I also really like Dylan Schmid, who played his son. I'm not entirely sure if he's been in other movies, but if he has, I must have missed them. But I hope he gets more work after this, because he was really good as well. I also really enjoyed the cinematography. Visually speaking, this movie has just has a great feel for making this farm feel very lived in and very dirty. It has a very big emphasis on wide shots. Like, there's one shot of the farm where I'm like, that would be an excellent picture on a messed up postcard. Where the movie kind of starts to slow down for me is when the movie reaches a certain point. And after that certain point happens, the movie gets a little confused. Plot lines are introduced that are almost never brought up again. Stuff happens out of nowhere, and you're just like, couldn't we have just heard an explanation for this? There's a land dispute between Wilfred and this other wealthy man in town, and it's almost never elaborated on, or at least it wasn't elaborated enough. And I wanted to see more of that. Because in my opinion, my interpretation of this movie is be careful what you wish for. You would think the grass would be greener on the other side, but the green stuff is also full of weeds. I just would have liked to seen more of that stuff explained after that certain point. But on the whole, I give this movie a great rating. I was honestly very surprised at the quality of this movie, especially for a movie on Netflix. Not digging on Netflix or anything, I'm not trying to bury them, but a lot of their content has not exactly been the best. They hit a home run occasionally, but, that's just occasionally. But that's all for me, guys. Thank you so much, as always, for watching. We're going to wrap up Stephen King month by taking a look at the other Netflix Stephen King movie, Gerald's Game. And it's especially fitting because the movie was directed by Mike Flanagan, who's also going to be directing Dr. Sleep coming out in November. But that's all for me for now. My name is Ryan Cam, and I'll see you in the next one.